Of course, we're here to announce a second interim police chief who many of you may recognize, Art Acevedo. We have him here with us. We also have City Manager Jim Twombly and current interim police chief Dan Oates. They all have remarks to make first, as you can well imagine, and then they'll take your questions. But for now, we'll turn it over to Jim to provide his remarks. Jim?
Thank you, Ryan, and again, thanks everyone for being here. I'd like to just start off by saying thank you to Chief Oates, who has filled in so well for us over these past 6 months. When I called Chief Oates last spring and asked him about coming here as interim, he was ready, willing, and able. He, in following discussions, he talked about things that he could do for the department, and I was really pleased. We saw eye to eye on any number of things. He's done a great job since he's been here. He came during a difficult time for the department and the city. It was a difficult situation and really at a critical juncture for us. Since being here, he has lent stability and a steady hand within the department with his years of experience and his knowledge. He's been a real benefit for the officers. He has reintroduced his crime-fighting strategy that he used here in his previous tenure with the city, and that is paying off. He's also been a leader within the department and has reached out to the community to continue the building of trust that we need to do with our community. This was a 6-month commitment of Chief Oates, and as you all know, we went through a national search that did not yield a permanent chief for the city, so we knew we needed to go a different direction. And so with Chief Oates' national reputation and network, he was able to help us in that. And so with that, I would like to just turn it over to Chief Oates.
Well, Jim, thanks for the kind words. I'm really happy to be standing here today and be able to introduce my good friend, Art Acevedo. Art and I have known each other for 10 years. We're good friends. He has an extraordinary reputation. I've talked to him any number of times over the years about challenges I was facing to get his advice. We've seen each other at conferences. We first met as a part of a State Department delegation to India. 4 of us, 4 police chiefs from America, went to India for the National Police Conference for a week back in, I think, 2013 or so. And I got to know Art well then, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And when our search for a permanent chief fell through, I got to talking to Art about would he possibly be interested. And I'm thrilled to stand here today and be able to introduce him to you. He's an extraordinary leader. He's been in very challenging positions in American policing, and he's very highly thought of among the fraternity of police chiefs who run larger organizations in the country. And so it's a great moment for our city. I know that I can reassure the members of our department that you'll be well led, and that working for Art Acevedo, you're going to have a lot of fun. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce my friend, Art Acevedo, as the next interim chief of Aurora. Art?
Hi, good evening. My name is Art Acevedo. I'm been selected here as a new interim chief. I just signed an agreement with the city, and I just got to say it's exciting to be here in Aurora because after 35 years of policing, I still love cops. I still love community policing, and I absolutely love crime fighting because they all go hand in hand. Good policing, good community relations, and crime fighting truly go hand in hand. And so to the cops here in Aurora, get ready because I've been out of a police car for over a year now, and I cannot wait to get back in those police cars with y'all, working patrol, checking out dark alleys, going to the hot shots, the calls, and really keeping this community safe. And when Dan, who I got to tell you is, Dan's a salesman, he really talked to me about this city. But quite honestly, I've been following Aurora for a long time because as a major city police chief for 14 and a half years, and I had the privilege of being the president of the Major City Chiefs Association for 3 years, we pay attention to what's going on because none of us live on an island. And we know that this generation of the American police officer is the best generation of my 35 years, despite the fact that the work to improve, the work to always look for better practices, the work to give them what they need to be successful never ends, we pay attention. And I can tell you that I've got a great deal of respect for the Aurora Police Department. I'll never forget when you had that shooting at that theater. And I'll never forget the heroism. And I'll never forget the presentation that the chief made to us. It spoke as to the heart of a police department, the courage of a police department, and I think it's going to be a privilege for me for the next few months, maybe longer, maybe up to a year, to keep the ball moving. The last thing I want to say to this community is that we've got political leadership here that where other cities are defunding the police. I am really excited about coming to a city where they understand that good policing requires an investment. It requires the proper funding for training, equipment. It requires having a benefits package and a pay that attracts the very best. And I'm excited, council member, to be coming here because when I got to visit with the members of the council and the mayor, I found unity in a vision for Aurora being a safe city. I found unity for Aurora being a city where the cops are the best and are treated like the best. And I found unity in a vision for continuing to bridge and strengthen relationships between all segments of our society and our community and our men and women. So let's get ready. I'll be back. I'm going to be here for a couple of days visiting the officers. I'll be calling members of the community leaders. But I cannot wait till December 5th. I'm getting teased by all my friends and relatives and family at home because they know I cannot wait to strap on that gun belt, put on that badge, because believe it or not, the best days of American policing are today. Despite the criticism, despite the scrutiny, these men and women continue to come to work each and every day. And so we'll see you in a couple of weeks or no. Right? Gas up the car, I'll be here. And again, to the one more community, a la comunidad hispana, latina, a los inmigrantes, quiero que sepan que estoy muy orgulloso de estar aquí. Estoy orgulloso de tener la oportunidad de servir a esta comunidad, a todas las comunidades. Y quiero que sepan que este departamento policíaco respeta a la comunidad, respeta la ley y están aquí para protegerlos. No tengan temor. Si es testigo, si es víctima, adelante, que aquí estamos para ustedes. And in English, what I said I was taken aback to find out what such a diverse city is that don't fear the men and women of the Aurora Police Department. If you're a victim, if you are a witness, adelante, come forward. We're here for you, and I look forward to serving you. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Any questions anybody has?
Chief, I mean, this is a community that obviously is in need of some stability. You have the endorsement of a well-respected police chief here. What does it take to go from interim to taking the job full-time and saying, this is my gig and I'm here for the long run?
Well, look, first of all, I think for me, the fact that this city was smart enough, they did a search, they weren't happy with their results, and they decided, let's pause. Let's see if someone thinks that this man is out there that can help us to move the ball forward. And I think that, again, organizational development, building trust, crime fighting, it never ends. I mean, it is an ongoing process. For me, I'm going to focus on continuing to build on what Chief Oates has done. Chief Oates has really turned the department, continue to move forward, and we'll see what happens. But my commitment was, 6 to 12 months. I love Colorado, by the way. I mean, first of all, I love policing. It is a privilege, to wear that badge and to go out there and have fun. So we'll take it. This winter, I mean, I'll tell you, it's a little cold. Thank God I'm fat and old. That's helping. And I couldn't find my winter clothes, but that didn't help. So, see, yes.
Sí, ¿qué le diría a la comunidad hispana, mayormente aquí en esta zona, que tiene miedo y todavía siente, no tiene unas relaciones muy buenas, ni experiencia? ¿Cuál es su mensaje como hispano?
Bueno, para empezar, la comunidad hispana me conoce. Yo creo que a nivel nacional yo soy una voz para el inmigrante, una voz para la comunidad, todas las comunidades. Y quiero que sepan que yo pienso que la comunidad hispana sabe dónde está mi corazón. Me encanta los departamentos policíacos, me encanta el servicio público, pero al fin del día, si eres víctima, no te puedes dejar ser víctima. No puedes tener el temor a la policía, tienes el temor al criminal, tienes el temor al que lo está abusando. Así que quiero que sepan que yo sé que las relaciones de la policía y la comunidad nunca es perfecta, porque las relaciones personales no son perfectas, es trabajo, pero vamos a seguir trabajando para ganarlos la confianza y para seguir adelante para mantener la seguridad pública. And let me just say there is violent crime. And I like to always say, do not confuse kindness or weakness, because we are going to continue to fight crime, and we're going to hold people accountable, and we're going to do what we get paid to do, which is to keep people safe, keep our cops safe, and to make this vibrant community the safest it can possibly be. Yes, ma'am.
You talk about 6 to 12 months. Can you tell us how long is the contract you signed? And then, just to be clear, are you interested in the full-time job?
You know what? After my last experience, I did my homework, and I really want to thank the mayor and council. I asked to meet with them. Initially, I was talking about consulting and how can I help you, and leadership and community building, all that stuff. But I enjoy a challenge, and I enjoy community building, and I enjoy crime fighting. You will find me happiest when I'm in a police car working in the middle of the night. And so we'll see. Yes, ma'am.
How do you plan to build community trust with your officers when they know this is just temporary then?
Because at the end of the day, it's not my job to build trust. It's the job of the organization. I'm just one person. Quite honestly, the chief is the least important person in any police department. We're the most replaceable person in any police department. The people that count the most are the men and women that are the face of the police department, that are interacting day in and day out. What I hope to do is bring 35 years of experience and an extremely deep passion for policing and sharing everything I have with our command staff, with our professional civilian staff, and just use that to move the ball forward. The average police chief in this country, when I became a police chief for the first time in 2007, I was 43 years old, I think. I was skinnier, I had more hair, and I'll never forget the first time I sat around that table at the Major City Chiefs Association. 77 police executives from around the country, from New York. Dan knows what I'm talking about. And the chiefs used to last 3 to 5 years. And now they're really lasting top end 3 years. And during the last 36 months, what we were experiencing is chiefs were lasting about 18 months. It was shocking to see. Because quite honestly, sometimes people want perfection, and there's no such thing as perfection. Policing is a very dynamic, we have a very dynamic mission where this is how fast officers have to process. And I can tell you that even in the most tragic situations, the officers are not making mistakes of the heart, they're making mistakes of the mind. When, it's not TV, they don't get a second or third take, it's not Hollywood. So it's very challenging. So, again, I'm the least important person on any department I've been. The men and women in the front lines are the most important. They're the what continues, they're the continuity, they're the backbone. So, but I'll tell you, we're gonna have fun. I always tell cops, like, man, if you're not having fun, you're not doing something right. It is the most amazing job than being in a police car. There's no better place. You go 10-8, you answer your calls, you treat people with respect, you chase the bad guys, you do it in a constitutionally appropriate manner, and you're good to go. Yes, sir.
Based on what you just said, how it's incidences of the mind and not the heart, in the past, certain chiefs have had difficulties with the unions confronting them about responsibilities and et cetera. Do you have a message for the unions?
You know what? One of the things that I hope to do is, as we continue to move forward, is really assess what are our processes, what are our systems in terms of organizational development, in terms of accountability. You know, I've already started asking questions about, do we have a disciplinary matrix? So officers know, here are the rules. If you violate the rules, you know, let's make well-informed decisions. We have a bail schedule sometimes. Well, we're going to have a matrix. So everybody's on notice. And then I've asked about education-based discipline. You know, a lot of times what we do in policing is we suspend somebody, but what do you learn from that? That's just punitive. So I really want to look, and I've done this in 2 departments now, to bring in education-based discipline. And then at the end of the day, they have to understand you cannot defend the indefensible. Not everybody needs to be a police officer. And sometimes when an officer does something, not because they're malicious, but they just, you know, no matter how much we train, you can never, ever truly assess 100% how somebody's going to respond in a situation where it's not a controlled environment in the academy. And sometimes when people don't respond appropriately, not everybody needs to be a police officer. And the great cops, the vast majority here, you know, if we identify those people, you know, some of them just won't survive. So I always tell my union folks, and I'm very pro-labor, you know, because without some of the civil rights, some of the rights that they've attained over the years, think about when cops didn't have any rights. Think about the civil rights movement when cops, if you didn't do exactly what you were told, you were fired, no matter whether it was constitutional or not. So it's a balance, and I've always told them, don't defend the indefensible because you hurt the vast majority, which is the vast majority of the organization, and cops. Anything else?
Yes.
What, do you already do one?
I did.
In English or Spanish?
I will do it in English.
Oh, no, en español, diga.
Okay, perfecto.
Is this for you, Telemundo, or what?
For Univision, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
¿Usted conoce el pasado que tiene este departamento con referencia a acusaciones de racismo? Usted como un chief que ha trabajado en Miami, claro, en una ciudad muy diversa y como hispano, ¿cómo planea, cuál es el plan para cambiar esta percepción?
Bueno, para empezar, vamos a ver, vamos a estar muy seguros que el racismo no lo vamos a permitir, nunca se va a permitir. Por fin del día, vamos a ver y a ver si es racismo o es falta de entrenamiento, falta de confianza, falta de metiéndonos en la comunidad para ganarnos la confianza. Pero acuérdese, no se dejen con el criminal, no se deje con un oficial, sino un oficial que está actuando de una manera profesional. Al fin del día tenemos que tener esa relación entre nosotros y la comunidad. Pero yo pienso que esta comunidad tiene que saber que no vamos a permitir policías que no están actuando como debe estar actuando. Okay? Anything, sí.
El tema de la violencia juvenil, la violencia entre los jóvenes es algo muy grande en este momento. ¿Cuál es su plan para abordar este problema?
Bueno, para pensar, tenemos que ser padres y madres. Mi mamá me decía siempre, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Necesitamos que los padres, las mamás, los abuelitos, los tíos, las tías, todos tenemos que mantener el control de nuestros hijos, número 1. Número 2, acabo de venir de una escena donde mataron a un muchacho de 12 años. Fui con el jefe y tenemos que tener todo lo posible para tener programas para la juventud. Y para mí eso está en mi corazón, con la juventud. No podemos esperar que hasta que los niños estén en las pandillas, que las pandillas sean la familia. Necesitamos tener oportunidades para los niños. Así que eso es algo que a mí me encanta y quiero que sepan que ahora en diciembre, más o menos antes de las Navidades, quiero tener una reunión con el liderazgo civil de la comunidad comunitaria, con la policía, con algunos de los políticos aquí locales para ver a dónde estamos y a dónde podemos ir. Porque eso es un trabajo que todos tenemos que doler cuando una persona joven pierde la vida. Yes, sir.
City of Aurora and Police Department are under a consent decree, which I'm sure you've reviewed.
Yeah.
What are your reflections on the reforms contained within that, and are there any others you'd like to pursue?
Well, look, let me just say, one of the things that excites me is that I've actually led a department that was completely investigated. And so I see this consent decree as an opportunity to help provide our officers with the processes, the systems, the equipment, the training, everything they need. A lot of times, folks don't understand that it actually forces communities to invest in good policing. And so what I hope to do, actually, I'm going to meet with the monitor today and tomorrow. We're going to have some meetings to see where we're at and to continue moving forward. So I think that we should be excited that it is a tremendous opportunity to take a department. Let me just say real clear to everybody, this is not a broken department. This is a department like every other department, a work in progress, that we always have to do better. I'll never forget LAPD back in the day. I grew up in LA. They thought they had arrived. They thought they could learn nothing else. And you remember what happened. They did this. Organizational culture development is ongoing. And we have to continue to always understand that we have to be looking on how we do things better. So I can't wait to help them do that. It's going to be fun. And by the end of the day, look, the community has to play a role too, right? And so the upcoming months will be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, ma'am.
Just kind of following up on that, you know, to continue pushing the reform that's been kind of a focus over the last few years, how do you plan to do that when, you know, not everybody, even in city leadership here in Aurora, supports reforming the police?
Well, look, I think I'm not quite agree with that. I think that as I met with the council members like one or two at a time, everybody wants the department to be the best it can be. And I think the way that we, as a leadership group, get everybody to have a shared vision is constant engagement and communication. We cannot be in silos. You know, I can't have my political leadership here in the upcoming months not know what we've got going on. We've got to engage them. And quite honestly, with 35 years of policing, sometimes we all just look at things through the prism of our own life experience and through the prism of what we know. And I think our job as leaders is to make everybody's field of vision continue to broaden, you know, because regardless of what we think here, we got to think about what's the federal government think, what's the Department of Justice at the federal level thinks, how are they going to handle, what are their expectations, you know, what's the state legislature's view on stuff. It is really a global view of the world that you have to take, and my job as a police chief is to really continue to engage all stakeholders, the cops, the police officers internally, the leadership team internally, you know, our leadership in terms of the political leadership. And we have to engage, by the way, the legislature. You know, we have to understand that every level of government plays a role. We are all interconnected, and we all have to work together to have, I think, a shared vision of where we want to end up. But I think everybody's goal is to make the department the best it can possibly be. Everybody's goal from everybody I've met, and I've talked to every single member of council, is to make sure that the department is doing everything it can to combat violent crime, property crime, the victimization of the people of Aurora. And I think that at the end of the day, what we want to see is a police department that is great at crime fighting and is respectful of the rule of law, the Constitution, and obviously the requirements that we have as a professional peace officer took an oth of office. And well, just a couple more because it's been really a long. By the way, I did pass my exam. Just so you all know, I studied 2 days, and thank you to the Aurora Police Department that kept throwing questions to the academy. If you can get this old dinosaur to pass in 2 days, that speaks volumes as to the ability of our academy to train our cops. So that gives me great hope. Yes, ma'am.
Are there specific reforms you think the department could benefit from?
You know what? I think that it's too soon to say, but I can tell you this, that we will never, as long as we're together as a team, we will always be looking for best practices. We will always be looking to see how can we make, I can tell you right now, I want to work on internally providing a real-time crime center for our cops. You know, real-time crime centers really brings in a lot of information and provides a tactical, immediate information for our cops to be able to go out and catch those violent criminals. So there's a, you know, we can walk, chew gum at the same time. We can build relationships with the community and actually fight crime at the same time. Actually, those two go very much hand in hand. So last one, because I've got to go meet my monitor pretty soon here.
I just wanted to see, we saw you out at the vigil earlier
Yeah.
today. Can you talk about why do that even before, you know, you're really introduced?
Well, you know, look, when Chief Oates was kind enough to tell me about, I really believe that first impressions are lasting impressions. They're hard to change, and relationships matter. I don't know anything about the 12-year-old victim, but that's a child of God, and a mother gave birth to that child, and when that young man died at 12 years old, we should all care about that. And I just went there to pay my respects. Didn't say a word, but I just felt it would have been in poor taste for me to be here at 5:30, knowing that at 4, we were, our city, our community, our cops, our leadership cadre that were there, our city team that were there with clergy and a family member, it would have been a very poor taste for me not to be there to let them know that that life mattered. Because if it doesn't matter to all of us, we'll never have the Aurora of tomorrow that we all want. And it's time for us to all come together. So thank you all very much. Muchas gracias.